Sarah, today we will take up one subject which is called the Vairagya. Now, what is Vairagya? There are understandings of Vairagya, different concepts of Vairagya. People have different opinions, different perceptions about Vairagya. But that is one of the most misconstrued or misinterpreted word. The word called the Vairagya. Now, what Vairagya is and what Vairagya is not. The moment the word Vairagya comes into anybody's attention, they hear, they feel Vairagya is being in a state of disillusionment. A person who is completely disillusioned is Vairagi. Now, what is being disillusioned? Being disillusioned is something where you believe in something or somebody or some system or a belief system, a religion or faith or whatever. You find it to be a hoax. You find it to be inaccurate or inappropriate. At that point of time, you get disillusioned. It might be of relationships, it might be of anything. But is that Vairagya? No. That is not Vairagya. Being disillusioned is not being in a state of Vairagya. Vairagya means being dispassionate, being detached. How do you get into a state of being dispassionate or being detached? That can only happen once you understand the reality of life. Not when you understand the negativity of the world. The truth cannot be altered. We are all influenced by illusion, which is Maya. That is the truth. Vairagya is a state where you understand the reality and you are yet blissfully dispassionate. Vairagya is not disillusioned, not being disillusioned. Vairagya means you are dispassionate. That is the fundamental difference. Vairagya is a beautiful state. It's a very pleasant state. If I may quote Sant Kabir Das's one of the dohas, couplets, dohas are couplets. He says, Kabira kada bazar mein, मांगे सबकी खैर, ना कहो से दोस्ती ना कहो से बैर. What he tries to say is, Kabira khada bazar mein, the Kabir is in the marketplace, which is the world. Mange sabki khair. He is wishing well for everybody. He is wishing good for everybody. But at the same time he says, Na kahu se dosti, na kahu se bair. He has no enemies, he has no friends. Does not mean that he despises or he distances. He only goes on to say he is dispassionate about any of the relationships. He is in a state of blissfully aware. That is being a Vairagi. Like all the monks and saints and avatar Purushas like Shirdi Sainath Maharaj came, he was completely engrossed in a state of Vairagya, but he always interacted with people. He always worked for the benefit of people. He always healed people, guided people. performed miracles for the benefit of people, guided them in the righteous path. But he did that all with being in a state of vairagya. Because he is the truth and he understood the truth. So that is being a vairagi. Not somebody who is disillusioned and he has developed a negativity or bitterness towards what he believes in and walks away. That is very negative. The importance of vairagya, Maharshi Patanjali says it in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. 2 pillars of yoga sadhana. One is sadhana, persistence, perseverance, being at it, practice sadhana. The other one is vairagya. Vairagya it does not mean that you get disillusioned about the world and you walk away as a vagabond. No. You understand the reality, stay in it, yet distance yourself, being unattached, yet being a part of it. There's a contradictory statement in the yogic path. They say that detached attachment. There is nothing called detached attachment. You are in the midst of everything. You are trying to do your best to help others without being attached or without being passionately captured with a relationship. That is vairagya. So when it comes to vairagya, the classic example of the journey of vairagya is that of Gautama Buddha. We all know Gautama Buddha's story. He witnesses the bitterness and the pain, agony and other things outside of his palace when he goes on a small trip to his own city where he is a prince. At that point of time, what happens to Gautama is not vairagya. What hits him is he becomes extremely disillusioned about everything. He finds no meaning in life. He finds no meaning in relationships. He sees the pain, suffering and agony and all the negative things in the society. So he, at that point of times, gets into a state of disillusion. Gautama is disillusioned. No matter how much anybody and everybody tries, but he does not stop himself. So he goes on the path of understanding in search of truth. Then, of course, we know the 3 phases of Gautama Buddha's life. Gautama Buddha's experiment with truth or his path, we will take it as a separate subject and separately we will discuss about it. First, he goes on and he punishes himself and he practices a path called the Hinayana. Then he doesn't find the realization, enlightenment. Then he goes on to the path of Vajrayana. There again he doesn't get the enlightenment. Then he sits under Bodhi Vriksha for 12 years in meditation. Then he gets the enlightenment. The path that he follows then is called the Mahayana. So what is it that at the point of realization or at the point when Gautama becomes a Buddha, Buddha is enlightened. So when Gautama Buddha gets enlightened, that is when he becomes a vairagi. From being disillusioned, he goes on to the path and he understands the truth and he becomes dispassionate. Then what happens? Gautama Buddha, he preaches for decades. He lives for a long years. He lives for many years and decades. He preaches, he guides, he establishes an order, and I think he was way above 90 years of age when he calls his disciples and asks them, do you want to know anything else? Do you want to understand anything more? Do you want any more clarifications, guidance, path? So when everybody is convinced and says that no, we are fine, we have understood. So as a guru, he replicates himself in many. He creates gurus in his disciples. And then he sheds the body. So that is the process which Gautama Buddha practiced. When he left his kingdom, he was disillusioned. At the point of enlightenment, he was completely dispassionate. He became a Vairagi. Otherwise, he had no reason to come and preach, teach, and establish Buddhism order for the benefit of the world. So that is a small story, but when it comes to a subject of Vairagya, there cannot be a better example than that of Gautama Buddha. So there are temporary Vairagyas we all go through. There are temporary states where we misconstrue it to be a Vairagya, but again that is being disillusioned. Those Vairagyas are not really Vairagyas. Those are temporary phases which every human being goes through. We need to understand what those are so that we have better clarity that is not actually the Vairagya in its true sense and spirit. It is being disillusioned. Now, for example, there is something called the Abhava Vairagya. It is not the Vairagya actually, but yes, given a name Abhava Vairagya. That is a state when a person gives up. There is nothing which we cannot achieve with our efforts and blessings of our Guru and God. But we don't have patience. We lack perseverance. We don't consider what we want or what we are trying to achieve as really important. So we give up and we declare, I don't want it. So I don't have it, or I can't do it. I could not achieve it. So I don't want it. We take a defense. That is called the Abhava Vairagya. I don't want it because I don't have it, or I can't have it. That's not a Vairagya though, but yes, we can call it as Abhava Vairagya. Then comes a stage in every lady's life who was given birth to children. That is called the Prasuti Vairagya. That is, again, she gets so disillusioned with the pain and agony and the trauma that she goes through, her body goes through when she's delivering a baby, a child. At that point of time, she will decide that I will never let my man even come anywhere close to me. The pain that I am going through, it's one of the most painful process, delivering a child, which no man can understand. But the same lady, that moment, who is that small passage of time when she is going through that pain and agony, she develops that point. She reaches a point of disillusionment. The moment she sees the child or hears the child crying, that momentary so-called vairagya vanishes. The baby becomes a bundle of joy. So that is another temporary phase. And then there is another. There are several, but these are very commonly felt by the people. The other one is Smashana Vairagya. All of us in our lives have witnessed somebody or the other passing away. When they pass away, if we particularly attend their last rites, we feel so dejected. We get so disillusioned. We feel, oh, is this all? I was with him yesterday and today he is not there. Is this life? What is it all about? There is no meaning in this life. But soon after, give it a day or two, we are back to a normal life. So that is again a momentary phase. That cannot be called as a vairagya. That is also a passing phase, and that is also not a vairagya. That is a point when a person feels completely disillusioned with the world for a momentary passage of time, maybe a day, 2 or 3. Then they'll recover and come back to their mundane life. This is the explanation of vairagya. But there is another thing, a true vairagya, when it comes. What are the symptoms? When you start walking on the path of spirituality and trying to understand the divine or yourself, rather, there is nothing out there, everything is with us and within us. So when we start on that path, there are symptoms which starts popping up. It's a very delicate thing. And once you start understanding that reality of yourself, you started walking on the spiritual path. The first symptom that will come to you is you will start withdrawing yourself, being in a point of attention. You will start losing interest in being recognized. You start realizing that that is momentary. But still you are in the clutches of it and little ups and downs are there. Then you will start getting very, very subjective about every relationship that you have. You will become more and more dutiful towards your responsibilities, worldly responsibilities. And there is an element of dispassion which starts evolving within you, blooming within you. But you don't have bitterness. You don't have negativity. You only are in a deep state of contemplation with yourself. What am I doing? Who am I? What is happening with me? Fine, this is momentary, everything is momentary in life. So those are the symptoms which will start popping up when we start walking on the path of self-discovery. The journey within, which is called the spirituality, which is what we believe inside. So these are the symptoms of Vairagya. You will start distancing yourself. You will start enjoying your solitude. You will start enjoying your own company. You will start enjoying your own company. You will start taking interest in reading relevant subjects. What is relevant to you? Your feel or your thought of debates will start receding. You will not unnecessarily argue. You will start walking away. Not that you are a loser. No. People may misconstrue, but it is not being a loser. It is only being a person who is walking on the path of discovering oneself. So these are all the symptoms which starts, and when you get these symptoms, you start moving into the right direction. Start seeking the help of your guru. Guru as a concept can be an individual, an enlightened soul, or your religious scriptures, or whichever form. That which brings you from darkness to light is Guru. So this is a brief explanation about Vairagya. I just pray to my Guru, my God, that may he bless every seeker with a state of Vairagya, the state of being detached attachment, being dispassionate, not disillusioned, and guide everybody in the path of spiritual progression. Thank you very much. Sai Ram.